Welcome to the March 23rd, 2026 meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Wappinger. Thank you all for being here tonight. We greatly appreciate you. May Town Clerk Paoloni please call the roll.
Councilman Beal.
Here.
Councilwoman Odell.
Here.
Councilman Phillips.
Here.
Councilman Casella.
Here.
Supervisor Cavazzini.
Here. In just a moment, we will ask you to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. That will be followed by an invocation provided to us by Father Eric from St. Gregory's in our New Hackensack Hamlet. And that will be followed by a moment of silent meditation in memory of one of our residents, Bob Relier, who passed away over the weekend. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A lot of people here today. Let us pray to the Lord. Almighty God, Lord of wisdom and source of all righteous governance, we invoke your blessings upon this council meeting. Enlighten the minds and the hearts of those gathered here, and that their decisions may be guided by justice, compassion, and true love for their neighbors. Grant them the grace to serve with diligence, to listen with patience, to act with integrity for the well-being of this city and all its residents. Protect this community and preserve it in peace. O God, accept our prayers and bless the good intentions and the work of thy servants, and may they successfully begin it for thy glory and complete it without any obstacle. Guide their hands, and may their labors be peacefully accomplished. For thine it is to show mercy and to save us, O our God, and to thee we ascribe glory, always, now and ever, and unto ages of ages. Amen. Amen.
Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you, Father, for your words and your amazing partnership in our community. We appreciate you as always. Folks, do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll move it. Second.
Moved by Councilman Casella, second by Councilman Phillips. On the amendment I'd like to make for discussion, I'd like to table the resolution 2026-87, resolution approving settlement of Mid-Hudson Development Corp. and Mid-Hudson Holdings LLC versus Town of Wappinger. And then also, you would like to make an amendment, I believe,
Yes,
to one...
in 2026-86, where it says absent Heather Odell, it should say Angela Bettina. That's in section C and D, and if all those can be corrected.
So there's a correction there on that resolution, and then we will table resolution 2026-87 to the next meeting. Any further discussion?
No.
Seeing none, all in favor on the agenda? Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you very much. Motion passes. Do I have a motion to acknowledge the minutes of March 9th, 2026?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Phillips, second by Councilwoman Odell. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Folks, we have a public hearing this evening that is separate from our public comment portion on agenda items. So our public hearing tonight is on a local law regarding large-scale solar farms in the town of Wappinger. It is something that we have discussed limiting. We do not want to see our open space and our woodlands and our good farmland be eradicated by large solar operations that are built by developers and profit developers. So that is what this local law is tonight. So do I have a motion to open the public hearing on that local law?
I'll move it. Second.
Moved by Councilman Casella, second by Councilman Phillips. All in favor?
Aye.
Folks, the public hearing on the solar law is now open. Seeing no discussion there, do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll move it. Second.
Moved by Councilman Casella, second by Councilman Beal. All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is now closed. Folks, we're moving along to our public portion of our agenda where you could speak on agenda items. Do we have a motion to open the public portion?
So moved.
Moved
Second.
by Councilman Phillips. Second by Councilman Beal. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Folks, the public portion is now closed. You're encouraged to speak on any agenda items. We ask that you give your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes. Anyone who wishes to come up?
Good evening. My name is Ray Norcross. I live at 5 Skytop Drive. Good evening, gentlemen, Miss Heather. And I've been on Skytop for 47 years, and I'm here to address the issue of Cranberry Hills. I like the idea. I'm in favor of it. I don't live there, but I certainly support parks, and I'd like to see more open spaces in the town, which is what this is heading towards. I'd like to make the town, I think it would enhance the town, make it a place that people want to live and raise families here. I do ask that the town board, in considering doing this, that you do a financial impact, cost-benefit analysis. Let us, as the taxpayers, know what it's going to cost, what are the ups and downs, and if there's any loss in tax revenue. I think you know where I'm going with that statement. One of the reasons why I'm in favor of it, and this is kind of an aside, because development, which you guys I know are slowing things down. If you want to see what Cranberry Hills could turn into, just take a ride down Chelsea Road and take a look at that, and then maybe you see it my way. I'd also like to point out at last week's senior center reopening, one of the members in the senior, Rita DeVal, I think she's here tonight. Thank you, Rita. When Rita gave a little bit of a speech, which you can all see on the TV on replay, she brought up something that hit home, and from myself and my wife, we raised a family here, and we want to stay. And something like this, that park, makes it worth staying. You know, my wife and I want to age in place. That was the phrase Rita used. And I think that hit home, and I think that should be considered very strongly. And by the look of the number of seniors here tonight, I think you get the message.
Thank you, Mr. Norcross.
Thank you.
And I would like to note, just for the general opinion and information, we will be providing a presentation tonight before the resolutions are adopted, so I will provide further context. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Norcross.
Hi, I'm Marcy Wagman. I live on 50 Old Troy Road, and I'm going to speak in support of the resolutions for the purchase of the 326 acres. So the town of Wappinger is the second most densely populated town in Dutchess County, and I would dare say that it also leads density in the Mid-Hudson Valley. And this is the Hudson Valley that's been commemorated in famous paintings. There's the Hudson River School of Art, works of literature. We live in a really special place. And if you look at Dutchess County parcel access, where each lot is outlined in yellow, you can gain a perspective on how densely populated our town is. So for fun, this afternoon I asked ChatGPT, what does quality of life mean in a community? And in addition to safety, education, and opportunity, it stated environment and infrastructure. So what it's pulling together is that people want well-maintained roads, transportation and utilities, green spaces, parks and natural beauty, sustainable development, and environmental protection. So I also asked, what are the characteristics and density and the inflection point between rural suburban areas and urban areas? And they said, you're going to see some land use pattern shift between open land and dense subdivisions. Zoning conflicts are going to happen. We've seen that. There's going to be larger infrastructure demands, sewer systems, municipal water, traffic congestion, and you're also going to see changes in cultural identity, from where people kind of know each other and have neighbors to more anonymity. And there's going to be tension between preservation and growth. And the other thing, not just from ChatGPT, but other planners that I've read through, there becomes a tipping point, which is a very small thing where small increases in density can trigger very big changes in how a place functions. And why that matters for us is because then you lose control of what kind of community you live in. So at this inflection point, which I think we're at, we need to preserve rural character, versus accommodating all growth. You need huge investments in infrastructure to manage the expansion. And at this point, you really want to shape development intentionally, not react to it. And we're at that inflection point. And I know that planning for the future is a difficult challenge. I mean, think about what we talked about a generation ago, and the result is lots of empty retail spaces and office complexes because we are preparing for the future with vast unused parking lots. And that's, they were planning ahead, but we're living with that now. But green space has always been valued. It's been valued in the past, and I will guarantee you it'll be valued in the future. So please support the proposal for the town's purchase of this property. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Wagman.
Good evening. My name is Linda Abraham. I live at 47 Sherwood Heights, Wappingers Falls, New York. I'm here to voice the concerns of my friends and neighbors in the town of Wappinger. Wappingers is on the brink of overdevelopment. Some people feel it's already overdeveloped. And currently, we have several communities under construction in the town of Wappingers. Our neighbors that I've met and spoke with moved up here to live in the country. They want green spaces, green trees, and open spaces. With the moratorium coming up for expiration, people are fearful of what's going to turn up in their backyards. If we don't put a park in on Cranberry Hill, we will have several issues and problems compounded that presently exist in the town. One being congestion. People complain, and you can see for yourself all day long there's traffic on Route 9. People say that it used to be crowded at Christmas time, and that now it's Christmas every day. The roads can't handle the capacity of the amount of traffic that comes through here. Another issue would be the impact on water and sewer. The Tri-Municipal Water District has capacity issues now, and development will put more stress on that water system. There'll be drainage issues and quantity levels of water. Now, one of the things that people seem to be in favor of is that it would be more tax revenue to the town if houses or apartments were built there. And considering today's economy and the value of the dollar, owning a piece of property is more valuable than cash flow. And so I hope tonight that we can take a step forward in acquiring Cranberry Hills. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Ibrahim.
Good evening, council members, Mr. Supervisor. My name is Mary Sager. I am not a resident of Wappinger, but I am a board member of the Sports Museum of Dutchess County. And speaking on behalf of the Sports Museum, I would like to express our support for the town's purchase of Cranberry Hills. We're fortunate enough to be in Carnwath Farms, and we have visitors come into our museum, and they always remark on the quality of life in this town and how wonderful it is to have so much open space, to have access to the river, to have so many beautiful parks. And as some of the other speakers have already mentioned, not all cities along the Hudson are that fortunate. So I would ask you to consider the feeling of your residents. If you did not make this purchase and you had someone come in and buy this property up and make it into condos, million-dollar homes, what would be the reaction when those bulldozers rolled in? And just a personal note, when I was here years ago, one of my jobs was working for the Hudson Valley Greenway. I was the community program coordinator, and one of my jobs was to address councils and actually encourage the development of open space. And we heard so many times that we used to have a beautiful park, we used to have access to the river, but that's all gone. I wish we had that back. I never heard anyone say, you know what we really need more of? We need more expensive condos. I never heard that. So my personal plea, as well as a representative of the Sports Museum, I hope you consider purchasing this property. Thank you.
My name is Nicole Day. I live at 347 All Angels Hill Road in Wappingers Falls, and I want to talk about the purchase of Cranberry Hills. I didn't prepare anything because I didn't expect to do this, but I thought, why not speak about it? I'm currently the varsity head cheerleading coach at Royce C. Ketchum High School, right where the park would be. I know we talk a lot about building more houses and how bad it is, but I think we should really talk about how it's going to affect the kids at Ketchum. That will be mostly impacted. If a lot of you guys know and have seen the kids for the track team running up and down, what road is it? Myers Corners, and running up Kent, around Lake Oniad, back. Overpopulation has caused the street to be too dangerous for the kids to run in. Someone's going to get hurt. If we make the park a reality, if we donate the money, if we somehow get it done, kids in the high school can have a better chance at, how do I explain it? Appreciating nature again. Kids don't really appreciate nature the way we used to when we were younger. My parents moved us up here from the Bronx when I was little, and they always talked about how nice it was to finally be around greenery and grass and quietness, and it's not like that anymore. Letting homes be built there would probably be the biggest mistake that we could do, and I think we would benefit more than anybody would know from a park. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Day.
My name's Rita Del Valle. I live at 12 Orchard Drive. I don't know enough about the money for this thing, but how I feel about it, from what was presented in Joe Paoloni's editorial, what you said today, if we can have this piece of land and it's not going to cost the townspeople any money to have it, and I'm going to go out on a limb now and say, I'm hoping, because we are always told that this town is in fabulous financial status.
Yes, we are.
If we can do that without any, and I know everybody looks 5-year plans, 10-year plans, and I'm not a person who does too much planning. We used to say, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plan, because we can't really predict, but I know you must have some plan, okay? So if you've looked at this and your plan says, we can do this without any financial detriment to the members of our community, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? I go to visit my brother-in-law who lives in Alpharetta, Georgia, and when he moved there 20 years ago when it was nothing, okay? Everybody talked about how cheap the taxes were, how cheap the insurance was. Well, fast forward, there is no stop on construction. So now you can't travel the roads, you can't get to work, they have to keep building schools. And I think that all these hidden costs, if you look at the property taxes and the school taxes, Wappinger doesn't get all of the property tax money, and they probably get none of the school tax money. So the amount of money you would need to get from 150 houses to take care of more roads, more snow removal, more electricity, and I'm not talking about people's houses themselves, the street. Now maybe we're going to need a new school. There is no way you're going to pay for a brand-new school construction from those taxes. So if we can do well with status quo and bringing this property in, I'm already thinking a swimming pool. Charge the town members to go to a swimming pool. I don't know if any of you have looked at the price of chemicals, electricity. How nice to make one payment, have somebody, maybe we'll have a pool. Maybe you'll kayak on a lake. You'll have a picnic. Your kids will ride their bikes. We keep talking about how harsh the world is, and I keep saying it. This is our sanctuary, but it can't be a sanctuary if we live with what happens outside. This is an opportunity to create this kind of private bubble, and maybe I am too naive, but that bubble works for me. So, and I'm sure it would work for other people to say, every other town can do what they want. Why don't we be the town that's different? Anyway, that's it.
Thank you, Mrs. Del Valle.
Hi, my name is Layla Clayfat. I am a resident at 30 Carmel Heights, and I am also a student at Royce Ketchum High School. I wanted to come up here really quickly and say, first off, thank you for even considering a resolution on declaring March as Youth Art Month. I am a part of Royce Ketchum's National Art Honor Society, and me and some of my friends have been trying to get this passed. We did it at the legislature a few weeks ago, and now we're here, and I hear that some of you are going to be coming to my school on Wednesday, which I am forever grateful for, and thank you so much for taking an interest in the art, especially at Royce Ketchum and around Wappingers, because I have slowly noticed more and more that kids tend to feel like, especially in the arts, that we are being left behind because of the, like everyone has been saying here, the industrialization. We feel like we have been cramped into these spaces that, like, our schools don't even want us there, and it really means a lot that public offices are taking interest in our needs. And it's not even just about us, it's about like our community. This year's Youth Art Month theme is the world needs art. Not that the world wants art, that the world could use art, it's that the world needs art. Art is a way for us to communicate in a way that even with language barriers, which I have seen many kids at my school have, because either they're English second language student, or like because they might have learning disabilities, so it's just a bit harder for them to sometimes like kind of communicate in a way that makes sense to a lot of people. Art has been a way for them to communicate. Art has been a way for me to communicate. It is such a powerful thing, and is such a powerful thing for us to be able to connect as humans, especially in such a hard time, that we need stuff like this. And I'm very grateful that you guys have taken a chance on kind of trying to promote this, and I hope that in the future that we can work on promoting it even more, such as maybe even make a community mural that, say, students are a part of. I also did want to speak a part on the creating the park near my school. I will tell you, if anyone has never gone to Royce Ketchum, it is like in the middle of a very busy street and then woods. There is no place for us to hang out. The only place that we can go to is basically an empty field that gets flooded, a track, and then parking lot. It sucks, to put it bluntly. And I have heard my friends say over and over again that we need some sort of green space, that we would love to be able to just go and walk around. It's such a drag to be stuck in a school building that's made up of cubes all day and then have to go back to our homes in a cube for the rest of the night because either we can't drive or it's not walkable. And sadly, most of Wappingers outside of the town of Wappingers wasn't, or the village of Wappingers, sorry, wasn't made to be walkable. So a accessible park would be extremely valuable to students. I mean, there's over 1,500 kids at Royce Ketchum, and there's also Myers Corners. There's multiple there's the middle school that's literally just across the way here, and we just need more green spaces because we're being told that, oh, we should be getting out more. Well, we can't because there is no way for us to get out without getting crushed by a car. So I just wanted to say that it's really important that we, one, bring the arts into effect because art is a part of our nature as humans, and nature is very important to how we are able to grow as humans. So, yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Layla.
Hi, my name is John Tillishak. I am a resident of the town of Wappingers and the village, and a trustee-elect in the village. And I'm here to speak in favor of open spaces. Mark Twain said, "Buy land." They're not making any more of that. If we take our green spaces and redevelop them, I defy you to show me where we've taken down a building and put up a park. We can talk about water, we can talk about traffic. Those are problems we have now. They'll be worse with development. I'm going to be concise, because you have a choice to make here about the potential of maybe some income or quality of life. And quality of life matters. And if you want to make that a dollars and cents issue, it also has to do with property value. If your house is next to a megaplex store, that's one value. If you're next to a park where people can go, you can take your kids or your grandkids or your dog or ride your bicycle, that's a quality of life issue that you can't buy with a tax saving. So I'm going to urge everyone here to support this. I'm sure there's going to be problems. They can be worked out. But once you take care of that green space and you dig it up, it's not coming back. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Teleshek.
Good afternoon. My name is Seek. I live in Wappingers. I actually live right next to the state. And I have a different perspective than a lot of people because I get to walk in the state. Putting development there would be destroying an environment. And I'm not talking about just a little piece of land. I'm talking about literally a whole ecosystem in there. There's animals that I hear every single night, bats that are actually protected under New York state law. And probably there are 3 houses, one of them mine, which would not be okay with me, right? But the amount of work that would take to turn that space into development, you would have to destroy the entire land because there's nothing to save. There's streams there. It would be too much to destroy that just for a couple of buildings that you can put anywhere else. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you.
How are you? My name is Dan O'Callahan. I live at 24 Widmer Road. I'd like to speak in the purchase of the 296 acres. Personally, we all know what it's like coming up Route 9. I'd rather take the long way every single day, and that's easy. I'm not in any way, shape, or form against development, against revenue, against moving forward. But in this purchase here, there's not many spots where you have 300 acres like we do right there. My wife and I purchased a house from her grandparents, Barbara and Louis Clausen. What it means to our family and others, that section of woods, is the first place my father-in-law took me hunting. It's a place where I used to ride dirt bikes. It's a place where many catch-em parties and other things of that nature. We've all had something in those woods. There's a memory there for everybody. Now that I spent 20 plus years in the village of Wappingers, right on the lake, and I can tell you, you don't hear frogs anymore. That's not something you have behind my house. You see some geese, and I thought I would miss that, but now I have 4 geese walking in my backyard, and my wife hates me because I'm friends with them, and they go to the bathroom all over the yard. All winter, I snow blow to my sheds and the deer in the backyard. I saw a buck like I've never seen a buck before in that back. Wow. Now 3 hours a week, my daughter and my wife were in the woods this weekend. We found a falcon's nest, watched them, they're building it fresh. The male's coming back and forth, putting together the pieces right next to the little swampy pond by our house. These are things that will not come back. These are things that once you put that building up, you will never put those woods back. That young lady spoke about the history. There's farm foundations and other stuff back there. I've been back there since this winter. I have 8 new bottles that I've collected from the woods. Some are dairy and farm bottles that I hope to link up to something that was there of our history. And I'm just saying, there's no going back. Once we chop that up, we don't get that section of woods back, and there's no going back. There's no money that we can make up for it. That's what was said when the last apartments were up, but we all deal with the potholes and everything else. And I just think we should hold on to the nature. If we could put some trails there, like the woman mentioned, it is very dangerous riding on these roads. When we were in the village, it was easy for me to let my son go down the street. There were sidewalks and other things. Widmer, somebody gets hit every few years. Myers Corners is extremely dangerous. Even with the shoulder riding on a bike, they rubberneck and merge right into you. If we could put some trails and other things in those woods, that's an easy transportation for kids to get from community to community while they're safe and protected, and use it in other ways and still keep the nature the way it is. The only thing I would ask is if after the purchase, we just be careful with what we even want to develop in a park, because that still affects nature and whatever else that we're trying to protect. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Would any other members of the community like to speak?
Yes, Mark Van Kirk, 125 Myers Corners Road. And really, you have to think about this community was really built on green and open spaces. This was a farming community, not a housing community. And the infrastructure we currently have, I can go over and repeat what everybody else has said, and they're all correct. Everybody's concerns are correct. Our infrastructure cannot handle more development without redeveloping our infrastructure, which is going to be an expense to everybody, not just the development. They put their share in, but it never covers the whole cost. These green spaces that we need to have in the community, because we have limited farm space, we have very few agricultural areas left in the community, and very few green spaces left. Not only the green spaces needed, but they're healthy for people, they're safe for people, and I think everybody would enjoy it. And everybody's, commented about Myers Corners Road. We've had fatalities on Myers Corners Road. We've had people hit by vehicles that didn't survive. I see the kids from the school, they pass through our farm to get up to Kent Road because they don't want to go out onto Myers Corners Road from the light where there's a crossing, which people don't pay attention to, and it's just dangerous. It's just not, it's not safe. My kids back in the 90s could ride on Myers Corners Road. It did not have the traffic it has today. They used to ride over to their friend's house, up off of Kent Road or anywhere on Myers Corners Road, and we didn't worry about it. Now, I worry about them pulling out in a vehicle out of a driveway onto Myers Corners Road and being safe. So just take in stride what everybody has talked about here tonight. Everybody's had valid points. I'm not going to go through them and repeat them all. You've heard them all. But I just think everybody should support this project and encourage that we move forward with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Van Kirk.
Hi, I'm David Barr, 10 South Missouri. I'm a member of the Town Zoning Board, as well as the Dutchess County Planning Board. Not speaking on the behalf of either of those organizations. But, like we do have areas in this town that we can develop. And they've already been essentially destroyed. They've been paved. They've been disturbed. They've had chemicals dumped into them. We should be maintaining and preserving whatever green spaces we have left through any means possible, whether that's down zoning, making purchases directly, like that's in all of our best interest. Tax-wise, if we're concerned about revenue, there's areas where we could try to, in an intelligent way, focus development that does not involve disturbing what we have.
Thank you, Mr. Barr.
Hi, everyone. Kevin Giles, reside at 16 Rose Lane in the town of Wappinger. And I just wanted to let everyone know that, I'm here tonight and for the proposal of the, for the proposal of the resolution for the Cranberry site. And, I am a Dutchess County legislator, represent District 13 and serve the people of the town of Wappinger and the town of East Fishkill. I'm a lifelong resident here of the town of Wappinger. My grandfather started a farm here over 90 years ago. As I mentioned, I currently reside in the town of Wappinger with my lovely wife and our 2 boys. And have relatives all throughout, extended family all throughout the town of Wappinger. This is something that's so important and near and dear to my heart. Here we are today and, talking about our school, Ketchum High School. Well, I went to Ketchum High School, and, one of my best friends, we played football together, and we had practices 3 times a day at Ketchum High School, and our route in order to get to practice was through Ketchum Trails, and our mode of transportation was our feet. And, it's so important to have, like, everyone's comments here tonight and what they're talking about was giving an opportunity for everyone to have parks. And for this extent is just a really great opportunity for everybody. So I just wanted to say, it's truly an honor to stand before you today to consider Central Park at Wappinger. Park is more than just land. It's where the families gather and create lasting memories, where neighbors become friends, and where we all find a moment of peace in the middle of our busy lives. A park represents an investment not only in our environment, but in the well-being and unity of everyone, all the residents here in the town of Wappinger. For many, the space will become a daily destination, a place to walk, to play, to reflect, and to just breathe some fresh air. For our children, it will be a place of imagination, discovery, and bonding between each other. For our seniors, it will offer comfort, accessibility, and community. This is a reminder to all of us, endless possibilities we can achieve when we come together with a shared vision. Again, thank you all for allowing me to speak today, and I look forward to seeing this park flourish and witnessing the many memories that will be created for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Legislator Giles.
Hi, I'm Marco Paraticos, 12 Booth Boulevard. Nobody really wants any of this overdevelopment that's going on around here. I can tell you that your zoning board, your planning board, and your town board do all they can do to stop overdevelopment. Most of the times it's out of our hands, and all we can do is kind of cater to what's going to be built and try to have it built in a better fashion. This is one time we got a chance to stop it, and the other benefit is we're going to get a great park out of this. So we need to do everything we can do and make sure that this purchase happens. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Paraticos.
My name is Sarah Dobbins, and I live at 6 Julie Drive in the town of Wappinger. I've only heard about this about half an hour ago, so I wasn't prepared to come, but it was something I took a reaction to say, yeah, we need it. And the only thing I'm going to really say is I worked at Central Park Conservancy, and to learn that I might live in a town that has its own Central Park, I have never heard anybody say, I'm so disappointed that I live right across the street from Central Park. My backyard is Central Park. It's terrible. So I'm being sarcastic to say everyone who lives anywhere near that area will benefit. All of us will benefit. It's just like the bridge over the Hudson River. People come from around the world to go over that bridge, the walkway over the bridge. People might not come from all over the world to see Central Park in Wappinger, but Dutchess County will, and I think it's the best thing that we can do, and we need to think about it and realize that this is not for us, really. It's for our children, our grandchildren, and the next generation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Dobbins.
Thank you, sir.
Would any other members of the community like to speak? Seeing none. Mr. Paoloni, I believe that we've also received communications to your office.
Yeah, we have two letters. One from former Supervisor Joseph Ruggiero. Dear members of the town board and residents of the town of Wappinger, as a former town supervisor, I would like to express my support for the town board's action this evening to begin negotiations to purchase the property known as Cranberry Hills. For more than 50 years, this parcel has been a source of concern for neighboring residents due to the potential impact on their community, the town, and the surrounding neighborhoods. Over the years, we have seen multiple development proposals, some envisioning as many 500 or more homes. Today, the town has a real opportunity to work with the property owner who is willing to negotiate in good faith toward a purchase agreement that could finally resolve these long-standing issues. This land is among the most environmentally sensitive in the town of Wappinger and is located within one of the most densely populated areas. For decades, Cranberry Hills has represented the ongoing challenge of balancing responsible development with environmental preservation. It has stood at the center of that debate for generations. I commend Supervisor Cavazzini and members of the town board who will cast their votes this evening in support of this agreement. Authorizing the supervisor to negotiate on behalf of the town and to pursue an open space grant is a wise decision, sound public policy, and a meaningful step toward ending decades of uncertainty surrounding this property. I strongly urge each member of the town board to vote in favor of moving forward with negotiations to purchase this land. Funding opportunities exist, whether through grants or bonding, and the long-term return on investment goes beyond the cost. Preserving this property will protect vital resources, including our water and sewer infrastructure, and allow us to better allocate those resources to areas of the town where they are most needed. I encourage everyone attending tonight's meeting to approach this issue with an open and thoughtful mindset, focused on what is best for the future of our community. Many town boards have grappled with this issue over the years. This town board now has the opportunity to make history by bringing lasting resolution to a long and difficult matter. I commend all those who choose to support this effort. Sincerely, Joseph Ruggiero, Town Supervisor, 2001 to 2007. And the other letter from John Iannini, 75 Kent Road. I came to reside in Wappinger Falls in 1974 and lived at Wildwood Manor Apartments. Monthly rent, $275, one bedroom, worked for IBM East Fishkill, and remember seeing horse-driven carriages on the way to work. Also, I almost hit a horse on All Angels one foggy morning. In 1976, we purchased a home in Houstonville for $26K and lived there till '93. We sold it for $85,000. Remember the train station in New Hamburg when you could walk across the tracks? Moved to a house around Lake Onyad where we currently live. I have seen many changes since coming here and would hate to see many more wooded areas become replaced with apartment complexes. You cannot make more land and should only make the best use of what you have and think about the future. Our very good water supply and liquid waste disposal do have limits that should not be taken for granted. The impact of adding another 1,200 must be a serious concern. The traffic has changed from Old Hopewell Road, and some Myers Corners have legal speed limits of 55 now down to 40, although the limits do not seem to matter in these days. I would say we have enough traffic, and it is sometimes the line of cars on Myers is endless. Moving through the village still is nowhere near as bad as going through Fishkill Main Street. So as far as now, we have enough traffic in this town, and we do not need any more. Now's the time to purchase this land and set it aside for future residents of this great part of the county and state. We want this town to maintain much of its country feel and beauty. Treasure the small amounts of farmland still left. And this parkland will have many benefits for all of us. The ideas will be forthcoming, some good and some bad. One thing for sure is no more apartment units. I would like ideas to come from the high school regarding education activities using this parkland. Keep the town of Wappinger country. John Iannini, 75 Kent Road.
Thank you, Mr. Paoloni.
That's it, just two letters.
Thank you. Thank you. Any further public discussion? Seeing none, do I have a motion to close the public portion?
I'll move it. Second.
Moved by Councilman Casella, second by Councilman Beal. All in favor?
Aye.
Moving along to Resolution 2026-86. Resolution introducing local law number 7 of 2026, which would declare that the instrument filed with the New York State Secretary of State as local law number 1 of 2020 of the town of Wappinger is void for failure to comply with the requirements of the municipal home rule law. Resolution 2026-88, resolution accepting resignation of town of Wappinger employee. Resolution 2026-89, resolution declaring March as Women's History Month in the town of Wappinger. Resolution 2026-90, resolution declaring March as Youth Art Month in the town of Wappinger. And Resolution 2026-91, correspondence log. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
I'll move it.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Phillips, second by Councilman Beal. All in favor?
Aye.
The consent
Just
resolution.
on the approved resolution, just want to say, with respect to the employee that has submitted his resignation, certainly Dan Franks has done an incredible job for this town as deputy building inspector. I have had him come out in the middle of the night to emergency situations without hesitation, and certainly we wish him the best in his next endeavor. My understanding is he's moving on to another opportunity, which, of course, I want to not allow him to do, but he certainly has the right to do that. But he has done great work for this town, and we appreciate his service.
We greatly appreciate Deputy Building Inspector Dan Franks and all of his work for the town. He was definitely dedicated to our community. He knew the code. He had a great understanding of it, and he worked well with our residents. So we greatly appreciate Deputy Inspector Franks and wish him all the best in his future endeavors.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Moving along to our non-consent resolutions. Resolution 2026-81, resolution authorizing 2025 budget amendment. Do I have a motion for discussion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Moved by Councilman Casella, second by Councilwoman Odell. I first have to thank our town comptroller, Dan Tucker, for being here tonight and for all of your work compiling this. Folks, this is a year-end resolution that is typically done to adjust budget lines and things like that, but I'm proud to report that, again, the town of Wappinger is in excellent financial shape. We resulted in a surplus. So what you see here today is an updated spreadsheet based on meetings that we had between town board members and department heads to get a better understanding of departments' budgets. So thank you to my colleagues that participated in those series of meetings. But with this new spreadsheet, I believe that we are all set to adopt this resolution.
I'd like to make a comment first, though. So again, as the supervisor said, we did have the reviews. We met Friday and Monday with most of the team members here. Got a lot of good information out of those meetings. Saw some areas where we need to tighten up a little bit, and we're going to do that. One of the things we're putting in place is some more controls. So what we're going to have now is quarterly reviews with each of the department heads. This way we'll ensure that we're not looking at these big resolutions where we have to move money from fund balance to some of these resolutions. So again, all we want to do is make sure we're working hard, we're working together as a team, working together with the controller so that we can, again, ensure that we don't have these big changes we do. We've done those big changes typically at the end of the year. We want to try to avoid that this time. So if we have an issue and you're 50% over your budget and it's only March, we need to start focusing on that. So again, that's something I think that came out of this. The other thing we should do is take a look at some of our procedures a little bit, and we talked about this. We have a lot of different line items, and within the line items, there's .4 accounts, .2 accounts. Again, we're not looking to go into a lot of detail with that stuff. If it's all contained within, say, a .4 account, that's fine. You should be able to move the money around for that kind of stuff. So again, we kind of do it anyway, but procedurally, you should just put it in the procedures today. And again, I think that, again, we are in very excellent financial position here, so this doesn't really change anything, things we've done in the past, so it's not anything new. We typically do a little bit earlier than March of the following year. We typically do it at year end, sometimes in January, but we did have a change in the controller, so Dan didn't come until April of '25. So we had a number of issues there we had to close. So Dan has done an outstanding job here closing that out, so we appreciate all your hard work. And again, I want to thank my team here for coming to the spending reviews, learned a lot of stuff here, and I think it's going to make a difference going forward. So thank you.
Definitely, it's really going to help for the 2027 budget as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the resolution? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you very much. The resolution has been passed. Resolution 2026-92, resolution adopting local law amending Chapter 240-36.3 of the Town Code entitled Solar Energy Systems. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Councilman Phillips.
I'll second it.
Second by Councilman Casella. On the discussion, as I prefaced our public hearing this evening, the town board is looking to tighten our town code when it comes to the solar farms. Again, these are projects that are built by developers, that are large-scale systems that have annihilated whole areas of our town. And some areas that were approved before I got here that may be coming down the pipeline, I absolutely oppose, as it's going to have a drastic impact on our town's view shed and our quality of life. So these are ways that we can tighten up our sections of code on large-scale solar. I would like to remind folks that this has no impact on roof solar, on private home solar, or anything like that. This is regulating developers who are looking to come into this town, make money on the energy that's produced there and the land that they've destroyed.
Yeah, so obviously as the technology evolves, we have to evolve our code with respect to the definitions which are articulated within this update. Small-scale solar energy system versus large farms, right? And with respect to battery energy storage, which has been a topic of discussion in many municipalities, we need to stay one step ahead of this, and this is what this is going to do.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the resolution? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you very much. The resolution passes. I would like to move Resolution 2026-93, resolution authorizing town supervisor to enter into letter of intent to purchase 326 acres of land known as Cranberry Hills. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilman Casella. Folks, if you would indulge me for a moment, I'm going to come down and join you at the podium and provide you with a presentation regarding the proposed purchase.
There it is. There you go. Can't wait to see what 50 take off. Tell us if you count there on 50.
First of all, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah. I can do that, I guess, right? There we go. First and foremost, thank you all for being here today. Seeing this room filled to capacity shows that you care and show that we're doing something that is going to make a lasting impact in this town and improve the quality of life of many of our residents. So I appreciate you being here. For 50 years, the matter of the proposed development at Cranberry Hills has plagued this community. Not just one or two neighborhoods, but the entire town. From the time of its first proposal in 1976 for 473 units to its most recent proposal of 1,200 high-density multifamily units, It has been something that has plagued many in this town. When I first took office, Wappinger was at a crossroads. We were facing an unprecedented wave of development proposals. Thousands of housing units moving towards submission were happening in this town. Among them was, again, this proposal for 1,200 multifamily units at Cranberry Hills. That kind of density, folks, would have fundamentally changed the character of this town. That kind of density would have devastated our quality of life. And I'm proud to say that we acted quickly. We enacted a moratorium, and then we followed it with strong and targeted legislation, as well as amendments to our town's comprehensive plan, making it clear that multifamily units have no place in single-family zoned areas. Because of these actions, we have successfully prevented 6,000 high-density units from coming into this town in single-family zoned areas. I want to emphasize that. The legislative actions that we took prevented 6,000 units from coming into single-family zoned areas. And let me be further clear what that meant. We protected property values. We avoided unmanageable traffic on our roads. We prevented overcrowding in our schools. We preserved capacity in our water and sewer systems. And we were not overburdening our police, our ambulance, or our volunteer fire service. Today, I'd like to note that the town of Wappinger is at 40% multifamily. We have 4,006 multifamily units in the town of Wappinger, as well as 60% single family. This comes while us being the smallest geographical town in this county, while also being the second most densely populated town in this county. I say it all the time, folks, so I apologize if you've heard this before, but we have our share of housing in the town of Wappinger. But now we face a new reality. The moratorium we put in place expires this April. And while we successfully stopped these multifamily units, there are still no protections to what we call the as-of-right zoning. And if we do not take action tonight, this is what we will have. The moratorium ends in April, and there will be an as-of-right application in front of the Town of Wappinger Planning Board for at least 150 homes in June. And there will be nothing that I can do to prevent that, or the Town Planning Board, from altering the course of our town. That is why we're moving forward with these resolutions tonight, to prevent that. I would like to call my colleagues' attention to the screen for this moment. The town's adopted and reaffirmed comprehensive plan from 2025 on page 80 actually calls for the preservation and the acquisition of this property, of Cranberry Hills Ketchum Trails property. Calls for it in our comprehensive plan. So we're moving forward in that direction. The other cited document is Dutchess County's County Route 93 Corridor Management Plan, adopted by Dutchess County, implemented over time, but created by Dutchess County Planning and the Dutchess County Transportation Council. They very clearly warn that Cranberry Hills connection and the traffic going out of Myers Corners Road or Windermere Road is a concern for future traffic. It will impact school enrollment. And this project should consider using existing roads and a signal at Laredale, because further in this document, it outlined a lot of work that had to be put on the backs of this community to support 150 units. And where's all that traffic going to go, right? So, folks, we've heard from you. our neighbors, and truly, the outpouring support has been overwhelming for this project. And we feel that you should not have to live with that uncertainty of what will be built in this town. You should not have to wonder year after year whether or not a large-scale housing development is going to come in the largest parcel in the town. No one wants to sit in more traffic on Myers Corners Road or Route 9. No one asked for a development to threaten the character of your neighborhoods. So I ask yourselves this. Do you think that this path of development is sustainable for our town? Or should we look at being innovative and preserving open space? Think about why you live here, folks. I hear from many of you. You live here for a certain quality of life. And that is why tonight, what I am presenting on, we consider to be proactive. We consider it to be a once-in-a-generation solution. A solution that doesn't just add to congestion, but outright prevents it. For the town of Wappinger to formally acquire these 326 acres is an investment in our community. This investment represents the greatest opportunity to positively impact the most residents of our town, while also addressing what I consider to be the greatest threat to our town if let to development. By securing this property, we have the opportunity to strategically plan our town like never before. You can see I've had some fun. The idea is to open pedestrian corridors like we heard here tonight. Myers Corners Road and our corridors like Windmere Road are not safe for our children and our families to walk on. It would be the great connector of neighborhoods, this Central Park. Be a great connector to businesses and schools and recreational amenities. This offers us the best chance to have a Central Park of our own, a Central Park at Wappinger. I would also like to note that the selection of this site is not arbitrary by any means. Its central location and sizable acreage make it the most logical location for preservation. And trust me, there are a lot of properties throughout this town, and we have looked at this one being the most centrally located one. The possibilities here are truly endless, folks. And we have already planned a few as our administration has worked tirelessly to secure grant funding, identify alternate revenue streams that keep your taxes low, and to negotiate directly with this property owner for a fair market acquisition. Because of this mentality and the actions that we've taken place, we have maintained Wappinger as the most affordable town in Dutchess County and will continue to do that by moving forward with this plan with the same principles. Again, I'd like to also direct my colleagues' attention to the screen as we are going to provide additional analysis, professional planning analysis on this proposal. Folks, these are the facts. Utilizing good planning techniques and strategies, our office has been able to put together the following information. Scenario 1. 150 homes built, application comes forward in front of the planning board in June, the town takes no action. Talk about tax revenue to the town. Assumptions, 150 homes. We're looking at Myers Run, we're looking at Chelsea Farms. Those homes are all selling for over $1 million each, folks. Just put that in perspective. So we're gonna say the average assessed value at these homes are going to be $1 million, okay? At the current town outside village tax rate of $1.48 per thousand of assessed value, you're looking at a revenue to the town of $222,000, okay? Total, that's it, to the town of Wappinger, okay? Now this, I want to note, does not include school taxes, does not include county taxes, and currently this property does contribute only $1,400 to the New Hackensack Fire District. That's nothing. So that's scenario one. Moving along, cost pressures created by 150 homes, right? Has an impact on your town government and our day-to-day. So these roads that are going to be built in this development are going to be handed over to the town of Wappinger, right? Looking at the average costs that we look at day-to-day when running our town of Wappinger Highway Department, you're looking at $5,000 to $10,000 per mile. Of course, that factors in if you have water, sewer infrastructure, drainage, things like that. So this property would have all of it. So you're looking at around $10,000 per mile. New internal roads, drainage, easement maintenance. We are a MS4 community. We are subject to new drainage regulations from the state of New York. They are very, very lengthy and very detailed. Our town highway department personnel would have to work on that. So estimated annual impact just on highway is $150,000. EMS. Our town, right, Councilman Beal, we consider it to be the model for ambulance service in Dutchess County. We have a tremendous system. But we have 2 ambulances serving the town of Wappinger. And typically 150 homes, if we were to use the math, would generate anywhere from 60 to 90 additional calls a year. Again, factoring it in other neighborhoods that are coming down the line. Okay? And factoring in the addition of 150 homes, we could be looking at the addition of a 3rd ambulance to our town ambulance district. Okay? That is not an inexpensive cost. For advanced life support, which is what we would need in this town, you're looking at $150,000 per ambulance. And that would be adding an additional ambulance onto the townwide ambulance district. And in addition to this, we've seen from other neighborhoods as they were built over time, there is a general government services cost. That is code enforcement. Obviously, each house or each structure would have to be inspected by the town building department. There's planning and zoning issues. There's a number of things day to day, and we're estimating that is anywhere from $25,000 to $50,000 in town government services that would be spent on this development. So, net town fiscal impact. You're looking at a total revenue of $222,000 in town taxes, and estimated costs from being conservative, $200,000 to anywhere of $425,000. So if we're going to be conservative, let's say the town breaks even. But if we're being realistic, folks, we're looking at a $200,000 deficit. They're not covering their costs to the town of Wappinger alone in that new tax revenue. Let's take it a step further, folks. Permanent impacts. 1,500 cars a day. This is using good planning practices. 150 homes, average how many cars you have? 1,500 cars a day coming out onto Widmere Road or Myers Corners Road. I can't imagine that, folks. We do not have a town police department. We have a very successful model where the state police rents from us at our emergency services facility, and we also have a contract with the Dutchess County Sheriff's Office. We provide them 2 cars for community policing. Again, not just this property, but if we continue this trend of overdevelopment, do we have to look at a town police department? The cost of that is substantial. Trustee-elect Teleshek, how much is the Village of Wappingers Falls budget on police? It is a great deal. It is more than 50% of the Village of Wappingers Falls budget. Okay? And again, expanded EMS infrastructure. We're looking at the loss of 326 acres of open space, the continued densification of our town, and increased long-term infrastructure burden. Scenario 2. Town preserves the land. Currently, the land is assessed very low, as it is vacant land at $2 million. I would like to point out that this land is currently in the commercial tax base. That's called non-homestead. Okay, they're in the commercial tax base. There's no impact on any of you here. It impacts the Home Depots of the world. And they pay a tax rate of $2.89 per thousand of assessed value. The town's total revenue is $5,780. That's the town taxes. That's what they pay in town of Wappinger taxes. I would like to note, as some of my fellow council members have asked, the impact on the Water District. The Water District, they pay $10,268 to the Water District. Again, don't forget that is commercial. And they pay $2,787 to the Town Sewer District. Just to put that in perspective. But again, your town taxes, what actually goes to operating this government, is $5,700. At the end of the day, folks, this is passed along the commercial tax base. It's not going to impact your tax bill by the purchase of this land. It is essentially clean revenue, does not drive school increases, does not drive EMS increases or infrastructure costs, does not impact your residential tax levy. And if you were to do a side-by-side comparison, here you go. At the end of the day, folks, we feel that the impact on the town is much greater if you allow 150 homes to be built there rather than the creation of open space and the creation of a public park. What we see, folks, is this being low impact, very, very high reward. And I would like to note, as some of you live in the adjoining areas, this is, again, low impact. We want to have passive trails coming and going. We want to create these connections, pedestrian access points across the town. Limited impact. I would like to go through, as some members of the town board have asked for a plan, just a brief overview of what we're looking for. Since January, we have been working on appraisals, title review. We've completed SEEKR, which is a state environmental quality review form, which is up for vote tonight. Obviously, tonight, we are looking to move forward with a submission of a DEC open space conservation grant. This is not a parkland grant. This is for the preservation and security of open space. We are doing a total grant submission for over the cost of the purchase because we want to make additional amenities and improvements. So we're looking for $3.5 million in this grant application. That grant is expected to be submitted before April 15th, which is the deadline. And again, we have a resolution on tonight to authorize me to submit that. As we move forward into due diligence and community integration, assuming this is approved tonight, we will notify and meet with surrounding property owners. We want to gauge your interest in purchasing small portions of this property. There are some portions of this property that run across people's front lawns. There are some pieces of property where folks are looking to get a quarter of an acre because they would like to have chickens. It's 2-acre zoning to have chickens in the town. Some folks that want to do farming. So the idea is to gauge their interest, see if some folks are interested in owning a piece directly abutting their property. And again, that would be with an open space commitment. There would be no construction on those lands.
Sorry, how long would that commitment last if somebody sold their home?
It would last with the land. It's a deed restriction.
Okay.
Yes. And of course, start preliminary planning during this time. Conceptual design of trail systems and pedestrian corridors, passive recreation areas, pond and water resource management. There's some beautiful water bodies back there and wetlands. We've talked about even town swimming. I believe that was mentioned here tonight. So there's different opportunities, scenic overlooks and access points as well. As we move forward, we will go into acquisition path and decision. Again, tonight's actions, whether or not to allow me to sign the letter of intent, we can move forward with purchasing the land after we've received the grant or not received the grant. If we receive the grant, the cost is fully funded by the state of New York. If we do not, we move to bonding. As we've noted before, the town is in excellent financial shape. And closing and ownership we see being in this summer, 2026. We would complete final purchase agreements, take over full ownership of the property. We move forward into post-acquisition implementation, that is summer to fall 2026. We'd initiate any sale if we see fit of any small pieces of property adjoining property owners, and preserve the core open space, strategic boundary alignment, and revenue offset toward project costs. We'd have more detailed site planning by then, advanced engineering. We'd work with our trail wardens on further design, pedestrian connections, see if we can do public swimming, take a look at the wetlands. And again, we want to hear from you folks. If you think that there would be something neat to have here, we'll entertain it. Council members will have the opportunity to deliberate as well. In Phase 6, development and improvements, fall 2026 to fall 2027, we could start opening the site. There are a number of trails and pathways through there. There's actually an exceptional cross-country trail that already runs through there. When I was in Wappingers Falls Junior High School track and field, the school encouraged us to run on this property. And I know firsthand that there are some beautiful trails back there. We could start making access improvements, pond and water feature improvements, and other town infrastructure improvements as we see fit. Again, the idea, passive recreation. We don't want to add more traffic to your neighborhoods. And then long-term protection. After we finalize this, we are looking to do permanent conservation measures across this property to make sure that this is forever preserved. That includes conservation easements and a parkland designation. We'd obviously move forward with maintenance plans, with our Buildings and Grounds Department, programming if needed with our Parks and Recreation Department, work with Roy C. Ketchum High School, however we see fit. And again, over time, long term, we're looking to pursue additional funding. There's all sorts of greenway opportunities out there. We look at the economic and community impact, which folks have already said about having a central park in your town, so that's a huge driver. And of course, climate and resiliency issues. If there are any flooding issues in any adjoining neighborhoods, we can work to remediate that as well. At the end of the day, folks, we are looking to create a central park in this town, a great connector. That is what we see this being. So if you see here on this map, we've outlined some of the adjoining neighborhoods that directly abut this property. Starting with the Village of Wappingers Falls, in the bottom left-hand corner there, you have Imperial Boulevard. Those multifamily residents through there. There is a sidewalk that actually connects, that we can connect to the Wappinger Greenway Trail, where Village Wappingers Falls residents can walk and safely access this property from Imperial Boulevard. You have access points along Dorothy Heights, Pine Hill Drive. You have access points along Widmere Road, Split Tree, Quarry Drive, and Hearthstone. Those particular neighborhood entrances, again, would be low-impact pedestrian access points. We would make them attractive, so then this way folks can walk from Hearthstone Drive down to Roy C. Ketchum High School. Oakwood Knolls, which is Robert Lane and Patty Place, to Roy C. Ketchum, or north to visit a neighborhood friend, or north into the Wildwood neighborhoods. The idea is to connect this. That's the idea. This is, again, a centrally located facility. I'd also like to acknowledge the fact that the town of Wappinger already owns land abutting this property that we can use to further interconnect into neighborhoods and utilize underutilized town-owned properties. There is 60 acres surrounding the Oakwood Knolls neighborhood at the end of Patty Place that could be combined into this property. There's also access points at Briar Lane, at the end of Briar Lane off of All Angels Hill Road, as well as along Quaker Road. We own property there. So again, the town of Wappinger, we own property. We should be interconnecting this land and utilizing this land for public interest. Many of you have walked this land or might not be familiar with this land, but there are beautiful wetlands that run through here. These are proposals that we can work off of. Trails that connect folks with nature, but also connect you to neighborhood. Again, that Central Park at Wappinger theme. Folks, if you've ever been back there, there are beautiful pine tree groves, stone walls, beautiful rock outcroppings. There would be a pathway like no other through the center of this town. And again, opportunity for cross-country meets, runners to travel through there. You can, for many of our town residents that do run, imagine running from Kent Road. You can run up to Lake Oniad from Wildwood Drive. The connection that this makes is unbelievable. There are other water bodies that we might be able to clean up, turn into recreational swimming or recreational water use. Again, possibilities are endless. But folks, I do want to leave you with this before we get into further deliberation. And I want to stress that this truly would be a connector of neighborhoods. This would be a connector of the town. It represents the greatest opportunity, again, to positively impact the most number of our neighbors. It addresses the greatest risk in our town in terms of congestion, if left to development. The town board can plan our future, or we can allow our future to be planned for us by developers. Personally, I ran to be your town supervisor to ensure that we proactively plan our community. We plan for our future and safeguard this town. We collectively get to decide what we want in our backyard. And I'm looking forward to working alongside each and every one of you, my colleagues on the town board, as well as you, our neighbors. I want to make this a reality for all of you. So let's be on the right side of history and approve the purchase of Cranberry. Thank you very much. Folks, thank you again for indulging me for this presentation. I do hope that it provided further insight into what the impacts would be and the benefits would be for the acquisition of this land. Mr. Paoloni, you also have the presentation. If you could also distribute to the town board, that would be appreciated. If you don't mind, that would be great. And I'd like to offer any comments from my colleagues.
Yeah, if it's possible to also include it on the website.
Yes.
The presentation, that would be helpful.
Yes.
So Supervisor Cavassini and I have had several conversations about this vision that he has for the town. And this goes back to early February when this opportunity first presented itself. I've been here for 20 years, and this is a unique opportunity for this town. From my perspective, some of the concerns that I wanted the supervisor to address were when we remove 327 acres from the tax rolls, what type of impact are we going to see? And as he articulated within the presentation, he has looked at this from all angles, everything from public safety to fiscal impact, and really did a great analysis looking at what it's assessed at right now, what type of revenue it generates right now. And I really think that that picture on the bottom right there speaks volumes. That's the 150 home concept, which is the low number, right?
Yes.
So if you look at previously, developers had proposed 500 homes. Imagine what that would look like on that picture right there. The 1,200 home proposal was before my time, I believe, but you know, multifamily housing is something that we have ensured that we've closed the loopholes on here in this town. We've had to make some legislative changes to ensure that multifamily housing doesn't end up inadvertently in someone's single-family home development. So I think that our approach here is consistent with the mission that we have had for several years and several administrations on this town to preserve the character of this town. The other issue with respect to this parcel, it is landlocked by insufficient roadways. And I'm glad that you were able to articulate that as well. With respect to Myers Corners Road, which is the largest roadway, it's already overpopulated with traffic. The other roads that feed off of this parcel certainly are not designed for the type of traffic that you have calculated in your presentation. So the roadways that surround this parcel are certainly insufficient. The infrastructure analysis that you did with respect to water and sewer, I thought that was a good analysis of what exists today versus what would be needed in the future. And obviously, the more development that occurs on this particular parcel, the more infrastructure and the more use would be used with respect to water and sewer. So I appreciate that. I just want to ensure that the residents of this town know that behind the scenes there is much deliberation at times. We don't agree on everything, and that's healthy. Joey is a very skilled vision caster, which is really something that we benefit from in this town, because he's able to articulate a vision, but as I said at the Senior Center last week, he's able to execute that vision as well. And this is obviously something that will be a multi-year project, but I think this is a unique opportunity here tonight for us to really collectively decide which direction we want this town to go in. So I appreciate the supervisor putting together such a comprehensive analysis of this, of the potential of this project and this parcel, and I will be supporting this vision tonight. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councilman.
I agree also. Supervisor and I have been talking about this for a few weeks now, and I really do believe that this is one of the most important long-term opportunities that this town may have in front of it. Like, land like this is not going to come back once it's gone. So thank you so much, Supervisor Cavazzini, for the presentation, and thank you for thinking of this for us.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
So we've had discussions over this, and our residents have spoken for us. Everything we've talked about, you all have brought up. So Councilman Kinsella and I have had many conversations with Dr. Bonk, what the acquisition of this town and a partnership would mean for the school district versus if it was developed. So, you want to hear both sides of the story. And he was concerned with very large development. But then, you talked about cross-country tracks, which, we would get the kids off of Myers and Kent Road that was talked about tonight. I've been here 30 years, and they've been running, and surprisingly, a lot of them haven't gotten hit with the traffic, and they're there every day. So, and then we talked about pools and parks and everything. I have two questions to our attorney. This is under a permissive referendum. What's the difference between that and a public referendum? And a question, we have the open space conservation grant application. Does that handcuff us at all in building, say we put in park buildings and stages or anything to that, bathroom facilities or anything, does that handcuff us at all with that grant?
So as far as the first question, it's subject to permissive referendum. What that means is that the resolution doesn't take effect for 30 days, and during that 30 days, if the town clerk receives a petition signed by 5% of the electorate who voted in the last general election for governor, then this matter would be forced to be a proposition on an election. As far as the grant, I haven't seen the grant application, so I'm not, I don't know the particulars, if there's any limitations on that, but we can certainly review it for you and see if there's anything specific.
Okay, because we had We had a blank page, so I got this tonight, so.
So it was confirmed that, again, we are going through an open space grant. We are not pursuing any sort of parkland restrictions or anything like that. This is, again, for the acquisition of open space. It gives municipalities the opportunity to plan effectively, as we've talked about here tonight. There are a number of examples of it being utilized throughout the state of New York. There are municipalities that it is their model to acquire open spaces when they come available. So that is why we went down this open space grant through DEC, not a Parks, Recreation, Historic Preservation grant, because then that talks about parkland alienation. Then there's restrictions, such as what we have on Carnwath.
Right.
Carnwath was purchased partially with an open space grant. As we know, that there is something called the donut hole, where there's a conservation easement, and it is parkland across 90 of the 99 acres. There is what's considered the donut hole, where the buildings are, that allows the town to enter into agreements with the sports museum, have the event venue there, enter into a boutique hotel contract, so on and so forth. So this is keeping us in the clear there. Again, thank you, council, for articulating. This is New York State town law. When towns go to purchase land, it goes to a permissive referendum, essentially a hearing.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Casella.
Yes, I think this is a great plan that you showed tonight. One of the things we are looking to do is prevent the overdevelopment, and this certainly does that. You know, we're looking at pervasive recreation and open space here, and this certainly does that. We do have a lot of issues, though, where if you did put this development in, you would have to worry about roads, police, fire. How are you going to pay for all that stuff? All the infrastructure that's associated with that. That would make that very, very expensive for the town. So, again, I support purchasing this land. I think it's a great opportunity, especially with the grants that we have. We have a $3.5 million grant we're looking at, as the supervisor said. We're also looking at something called New York Swim, so Rita brought up the swimming pool. We've actually been looking at that for quite some time, and again, it's a combination of potentially a community pool splash pad. So again, a lot of different things, looking at recreation, tracks, things like that. I can tell you that I ran track for Ketchum many, many years ago, and we used to run out on Myers Corners Road in Kent and actually through Lake Oniad, so I can tell you it was pretty dangerous. Not as it is today, but certainly that's out there as well. So again, 326 acres, about a third of that is wetlands. But I think the things that Supervisor Cavazzini showed up here were great opportunities for us to, reshape this property. And again, if there's people that are interested in potentially, purchasing some of it, I know that we have Philip Borghesi's potentially looking at some property there to extend parking lots for them. So again, get that out of the way first, but again, there's so much potential here. And again, keeping this in the hands of the town here and making it recreational, I think that's a great thing here, and I think it's really going to turn out very well. So I wholeheartedly support this thing, and I'm looking forward to voting on it tonight.
Thank you, Councilman. I would like to ask if there's any further questions from the public. Okay, seeing none. Yes. If you wouldn't mind coming to the podium.
I want to be sure. If you don't get the grant, it's going to need to go to the election, to people to vote?
No. No. So if the grant is not acquired by the town, then we bond, as I covered there. Yes. No. Yep. Thank you.
So the idea is to make sure that we get that grant for $3.5 million, so we don't have to bond. So that's exactly what we're looking to do. And again, there's some money left over, potentially another $800,000 that we could put back into the project. So that's what we're looking for. Again, New York Swims, there's a great opportunity there too. So again, grants is the way to go, and we've been very successful in not only obtaining them, but also being able to use them to fund, like we did here for the senior center. Basically funded the whole senior center with a $75,000 grant we got. So again, that's the route we've been able to go. We've been pretty successful with our planners, and that's how we want to continue to do it if we can.
Thank you. Okay. Ms. DeValley, would you like to come up to the podium, please?
Bush.
I think that the whole county, and not just the county, will be looking at how this works out, and we will be the pioneers. And I think that speaks very positively because it will give us a lot of goodwill, I think, in grant applications, and because we are the pioneers doing it. And I think, again, it'll be a lot of goodwill from the county to see how it works out.
Thank you.
Like pioneers always do all the first work, and then everybody rides on it afterwards, right, and copies it and whatever, but we could be the first people doing it, and
We like to take the lead.
Yeah, I
We like
like
to be the best.
We'll be the pilot program.
there was one of the number one.
That's exactly it. Absolutely.
Well, we try to be the model, Rita, like you said. With Senior Center, we try to be the model, right? And we try to do things that we have the ability to do in this town. Other municipalities don't have the flexibility or the opportunity to do some of these things. And just for the folks out there, with respect to fiscal responsibility and fiduciary responsibility, this town is in solid fiscal condition. We have significant fund balance. This was a conversation one-on-one behind the scenes about what happens if we don't get the grant, right? We can bond, which is one option. We also have fund balance that we can use if we need to, right? So it's not a situation where we're putting anyone at risk with respect to this. I think the real risk here is us not acting.
Yes. Amen.
I agree.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no further discussion on the resolution, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Even the
None?
crowd said aye, too.
That's right. It's approved. Thank you very much. Thank you, folks. The meeting is almost over. If you want to hang tight for just a little longer, we're going to fly through this, folks. All right, thank you. Thank you, folks. Resolution 2026-94. I make a motion for a resolution to apply for funding 2025 New York State DEC Open Space Conservation Program, Cranberry Hills Property Acquisition. Do I have a second? Second by Councilman Casella. And I move that we fill the blank of $3.5 million for us to apply in financial assistance. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Resolution passes. Resolution 2026-95, resolution to acquire 326 acres of open space in Cranberry Hills and pursuant to the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act to establish the type of action and to declare lead agency for the town board. Do I have a move by Councilman Beal, second by Councilman Phillips? Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Thank you very much, folks. That grouping for the purchase of Cranberry has been approved. We will move forward, and we will keep you abreast of what is going on there. Thank you for your support, folks. Thank you. That concludes our non-consent portion of the meeting. We're moving along to items for special consideration and new business. Truly, folks, I just want to thank each and every one of you. This is truly how a democracy works. This is how a town government is supposed to work. And having each and every one of you here, whether this is in your backyard or you live on the other side of town, this shows that this property has the greatest impact for our community and will be benefited by all. And I appreciate your attendance here this evening. We have a lot going on in the town, and for the purposes of brevity and getting you home very soon, I'm just going to fly through a couple of events. We just reopened our senior center. Again, that was thanks in part due to a $75,000 grant. Thank you. Shout out to our senior center members who are here today. Always very active and informed. That facility is now reopened and newly renovated. When we took office, that senior center program had 130 members. Today, this has grown to a multi-location program, and we now have 318 members in our program. So it shows, again, folks are engaged with our town community. They want to get involved in parks and recreation, so thank you for that. I would also like to note that Wednesday, we are hosting a Women of Distinction Award event. It's our first one ever for Women's History Month. That will be held this Wednesday at the Boathouse on the Wappinger Creek there, and we are very excited. We have a number of our honorees who are actually here tonight, and we're looking forward to having you all there as we celebrate the women of our community. Otherwise, it's grant season. We have applied for a number of grants through our Congressman Pat Ryan, as well as our state senator, or United States Senators Chuck Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand for improvements to the United Wappinger Water District. We will continue to keep you abreast on those. And again, we're just very busy over here. A lot of improvements. The Highway Department Wash Bay is moving along, and we're going to continue to keep things moving up there as well. We are looking at April to repave 20 roads this year, folks. We're very, very excited. So you're going to be seeing the Highway Department out and about improving some roads and infrastructure in the town. With that, I will turn it over to Councilman Beal. And you want to hand it off?
You promised Ward 4.
I did, yes.
Before it gets to go first.
I'll hand it off to the 4th Ward, Councilman Al Casella, for his comments.
So again, as the supervisor said, it was the grand reopening recently of the senior center, so that was a great day. Again, there was a lot of effort that went into it. Got that wonderful $75,000 grant, which was great. So if you've been in there, you've seen the floor improvements, the brand new kitchen, bathrooms, et cetera. So it's just an outstanding job. And a lot of the work was done by our own team internally. So just want to shout out the Buildings and Grounds team for doing an outstanding job, and also the recreation team of Jessica Dariel and Kelly Ann for doing an outstanding job there, because they did. They really pulled it together. If you saw it the morning of, they were still pulling things together, trying to get things cleaned up and ready to go for the grand opening. A couple things here. So we have the Easter egg hunt coming up on the 28th. That's at Robinson Lane. That'll be 1 to 3 o'clock. We have the Johannesburg 5K race coming up on April 11th. That's 8 a.m. Little League opening day is also on April 11th at 9 o'clock, so we got to keep moving very quickly. As the supervisor said, we also have Women of Distinction coming up this Wednesday. Looking forward to being there as well, and just want to wish everybody a happy Easter, because we won't be back in session until probably the 9th or so. So again, happy Easter, and thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Councilman Phillips.
Saturday, I had the opportunity from Commander Maselli to go down and speak with the DAV down at Castle Point. First off, there's nothing better than dealing with our veterans. This town is very, very, very supportive of them. The DAV last year bought a number of vans to transfer the veterans down to Castle Point. So that was good. They loved our new banners. I brought one down to show them, so they're loving that. They had 2 things to talk about. On May 17th, they have a 5K run at Ketchum High School. So that starts at 11, and there's not a flyer out, but it should be out this week, so you can get in touch with them. And then on July 11th, if you shoot, they're having a gun clay shoot up in New Paltz, and that's through the DAV. So they're wonderful, wonderful people, veterans helping veterans. So please go out and support them, because they have supported us.
Yes.
Thank you, Councilor.
Really quick, tonight is really about the future of Wappinger, how we govern, how we plan responsibly, and whether we protect the land that still defines this town. I'm so glad that we were able to protect more than 300 acres of open space, wetlands, and forests. Something I'm always telling our supervisor is I want to protect the trees. The trees are so important to me, so I'm so glad that we were able to do that. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Quickly, again, big shout out to the Senior Center grand reopening. Incredible event. Got to mention former Supervisor Connie Smith was there. Also former Supervisor Barbara Gutzler, which I just remembered I didn't post those pictures yet, but I will now, because you don't get those 2 in the room at the same time very often, that's for sure. But let's not forget, previous administrations laid the groundwork for where we are today. We continue to build upon what they have done. I've had the pleasure to be here for 6 town supervisors, and it's certainly a highlight tonight. So I thank you all for being here and playing a role in this decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. All right. Seeing no further business to come before the town board, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move it.
Moved by Councilman Casella, second by Councilman Beal.
We got a point of
Can we do
order.
a quick quick executive session, just on litigation?
We could do a very quick executive session regarding active and pending litigation against the town of Wappinger. So would you like to swap your motions out to go into executive
I'll
session?
make a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Casella, second by Councilman Phillips. All in favor? Aye. We will be back, folks. Thank you very much.